And I wound up and I gave him the best left I could. And then I passed out. And today I still tell my kids, I said, I think he hit me back. I woke up, I had the cotton boxing gloves on, and I really had to be nice to get out of there because my wife was coming up shortly after to see me. They finally took those off, but they're sitting on the side of the bed when my wife seen me. She said, what's going on here? Well, we had a little bit of trouble coming out of the anesthetic. It was quite an adventure. When my wife seen me, and my body adjusting to a new organ, and the many, about 35 different pills, and probably a combination of about 9 different drugs I was taking every day in order to adjust to the new liver, the new organ. My wife realized then that this is going to be a hard fight, because I had muscle tremors, I had convulsions, getting used to the new organ until they could stabilize the anti-rejection medicine. And that's certainly one of the hardest things that coming through a transplant is getting those adjusted. It's very difficult. But I was alive and very depressed, thinking, wow, boy, can I get it back? My wife was really concerned, what's he going to be like to live with if this is the way he's going to be? I needed the support of my wife. I needed it now more than ever, and she never let me down. It's amazing that she's lived with me that long, but to go through the last 4 years is really incredible. Now, a person once said, behind every great man, there's a great woman. Well, behind this great woman is a very fortunate man. There's a few other little surprises. Prior to the liver transplant, my body had so much edema that diuretics had no more effect. So leading up 2 months before the liver transplant, they were draining 9 to 12 liters of fluid off of my abdomen every week, surgically removing it, sticking the big needle into my stomach, above my vital organs, and basically tapping me like a beer cake. But it was great relief because the more fluid that built up there pushed your lungs, your stomach, your diaphragm all up, and you simply couldn't breathe. You would cough and cough and cough for hours. It also gave me a hernia, and you can see me walking down there holding the hernia. So it left me a little bit of a surprise there. Let alone when the nurse checked my blood, she also checked my sugar level, and she says, you need 2 units. I said, well, 2 units of what? She says, well, 2 units of insulin. I said, well, I'm not a diabetic. She says, oh, yes, you are. I said, it can't be. I wasn't one when I came in. She says, well, you are now. Some people develop diabetes, type 2 class diabetes, when they have a liver transplant. I was fortunate enough to be one of those. I hated people seeing me like this. I was not in a good mood there. I did not get along with the physiotherapist at all. I've been involved with sports. I just wanted to leave me in my room and let me sort this one out myself. I really struggled with that. I started my own exercise program. And that program was a program that I had nurses bring me in half bags of IVs. I had all kinds of IVs in me. I just needed the half IVs so I could start rebuilding the muscles in my hands. Once I got those strong enough, I used the bed to push myself down, and I'd pull myself up with my hands, and I kept turning it back and forth, until I had enough strength in my arms that I could pull myself out of bed. When everybody was sleeping, I'd be up at 3 o'clock in the morning. I wasn't a good patient. I didn't eat much of their food. I'd order in pizza, chicken wings, and anything that had any kind of taste to it. And I'd share those with the nurses, so we had a real good relationship going. We didn't tell the physiotherapist though, because she was wondering, like, how's this guy getting strong? He doesn't come out, he doesn't like me, but he's able to pass the test, so he's probably going to get out of here. But there's one little thing having a transplant that everybody's concerned about, and that's anti-rejection. I use a technique called imagery reversal. I started as soon as I had the transplant. It's a miracle how the inner spirit can change the body's resources to meet extraordinary challenges. There is a picture of me sitting around a very familiar area in my life, and that's boardrooms. And what I'm doing there is having a meeting with every vital organ in my body sitting around there, and I visualize that every day, right up till today. And what we're doing is we're thanking the old liver for 46 years of great health, and we're welcoming the new liver for another 46 years. And I do that every day. And it's amazing the unlimited power of the mind, because I'm on the lowest anti-rejection medicine of any liver transplant in the world. And we're even debating, the new doctor that I have in Winnipeg, is if I can come off one of them. And they don't know what to do because I'm on such a minimal amount. They're not sure. When I went into the hospital, I said I'll be out by February 22nd. I had this big whiteboard at the end of my bed, and I put that date on there. They said you'll be lucky to be out of the hospital. We'll see you as an outpatient. Well, February 21st, I'm home. The hardest part about that is that during this journey, my sons had to pick me up when I fell, and they had to carry me when I couldn't walk. That was tough for me to accept, because it wasn't long ago that I was carrying them, and now they're carrying me. Our house carpets are stained throughout the house. The reason being is that I had barbells everywhere. I started out lifting 1 pound barbells, got those in the hospital. In fact, an IV bag, 1 pound barbells, and I kept at it everywhere in the house. If I'm there, I'm lifting. I needed to regain my muscles. They told me in the hospital, our goal is to get you back to 80%. I looked all 3 doctors in the eyes and I said, 80% just doesn't cut it. I would always work out listening to music. I have DVDs. I like to listen to the blues. A fitting song for me is B.B. King. Every day I have the blues, and I had lots of those. But I kept at it. This picture I sent to the Health Science Center because when they said 80%, I says it just isn't going to work. I can barely lift those barbells. I have 25-pound barbells, and I can only do that exercise bike for about 3 or 4 minutes at that time because this is March. But I wanted to send the message that I'm going to pull this off. But when I really went down, and I used a lot of mental imagery things to keep going, is that I would put on this DVD that I have, and I'm watching a DVD actually right there too. I'd put on this DVD and I'd dig right to the bottom of my DVD pile and I'd put a 60-year-old woman on there. And she would inspire me to keep going no matter how down I was. And when you see Tina Turner singing in Wembley Stadium in front of 110,000 people singing Proud Mary, in my mind, I'm up there dancing right with her. I like to do this one and take it down to my post-op nurse, the one that looks after me all the time, gives me the blood results. Just drives her crazy. Because it just drives her wild, because I've got hundreds of internal sutures that aren't healed here, and I'm out swinging the golf club. But I told her that I'm getting back into the swing of things, and this is the way it's going to go. This is June, so we look a little different from cutting the ham. We're getting things together. It's my life, and I'm grabbing the controls. I'm getting it together, and the crying, the frustration, the depression are all falling behind. Persistence and control are paying dividends. The biggest lottery I've ever won in my life was June 21st. And Dr. Manuk at the Health Science Center in Winnipeg told me I was no longer required insulin. I'd beaten the diabetes. My anti-rejection medicines were coming down so quick that they scheduled to fix my hernia on August the 6th. I was in absolutely fantastic shape.